Hey everybody, Rock Guy here. Got some really exciting news. Another Animal, one of my favorite supergroups, one of my all-time favorite bands, and the project that made me a fan of Whitfield Crane just announced that they are reuniting to some degree. Shannon Larkin and Tony Rambola, as you know, have retired from Godsmack. They don't want to tour anymore. They're kind of entering retirement age, and I think at this point want to peacefully make music on their own terms without the obligation of appeasing a record label or having to support it through being on the road constantly. And as we all know, they really love that Another Animal project. It was born from passion of songwriting, passion of creativity. So it makes sense that they'd want to return to this. It was a big deal to them. And Whitfield Crane, he's always down. He loved this project too. As is Lee Richards. I would even say this was more important to Lee Richards than Dropbox was. I think his stamp is all over this record. I believe Shannon Larkin said he wrote 60% of the lyrics on that one Another Animal release. So yeah, it's cool to see this returning, rising from the ashes like a phoenix. They are going to have a new bassist, unfortunately. Robbie Merrill. He's going to stick it out with Godsmack after all. And I guess given how busy that band is, he couldn't find time to record with the dudes. So instead, they got Brian Carpenter. If you're not familiar with that name, Brian Carpenter is the bassist for that blues side project Tony and Shannon have. And I'm not a fan of that project. Musically, it's very interesting, it's very creative, but I don't vibe with it at all. But that's not to take anything away from Brian Carpenter's playing as a bassist. I think from what I heard on those projects when I did listen, his bass work was excellent. He looks the part. Low-key, he looks like he could be a member of Godsmack, so right off the bat, he fits in with these guys. He has musical chemistry. And I think Shannon Larkin said he plans on just taking him with him for every future project he has. So that's pretty much all the reassurance I need. Although I do miss Robbie Merrill. I did enjoy what he brought to Another Animal. I have faith that Brian Carpenter is going to add something really good as well. I'm not sure if it's going to be an EP or a full-length album. I know Shannon Larkin keeps saying 5 songs for $6. I don't know if that's... he's got 4 albums coming out this year, so I don't know if that's relevant to one of his other things, or if that's entirely about Another Animal. But, excuse me. But, yeah, I'm really just trying to manage my expectations, because nothing like this has ever happened with me before. Creed reunited, but Creed already had a pretty well-established career with several albums at that point. Art of Anarchy continued. They continued from Scott Weiland to Scott Stapp, 2 of my favorite singers, and then they continued again with another singer who I didn't enjoy that much. But what I'm getting at is, usually when a band makes one album, that's it. And it doesn't succeed, it's over. And for the longest time, 11 years at this point, I've been a fan of Another Animal. All I've had is that Another Animal record. It'll be neat seeing them actually bring something to this again, give it life. Whitfield Crane is interesting in that aspect because I've always loved his work in Another Animal. And Medication. I really do love his stuff in Medication. But I never really enjoyed Ugly-Kid-Joe. The only albums I really like by them are Uglier Than They Used to Be, which I think is just a very good album. And Menace to Sobriety, which I don't like as much as Uglier Than They Used to Be, but it's still cool. A neat little alternative metal record, something different from what I normally listen to. That lineup is returning again this year to make a new album, so who knows, maybe they'll surprise me. I listened to all their records, and yeah, those were the 2 that resonated with me the most. Once again, I am really just trying to keep an open mind. It's like that quote, when you go in expecting everything, anything feels like nothing. But when you go in expecting anything... Wait, I forgot that quote. Just ignore it. I'm going to cut this part out. Ideally, I would prefer an album. To be honest with you, I'd much rather get a full-length record. But assuming it is 5 songs, assuming it is just an EP, then okay. I guess that makes sense too. Give me a little sampler. God forbid I don't like it. At least it's just an EP, It's not a full-length album where I'm going to constantly compare it to that one debut album. Speaking of that debut album, though, since I've made that video, I just found out that John Costco was the original singer for Another Animal before he dipped to go audition for Alice in Chains. And that's the whole reason Whitfield Crane is in the band, because they needed somebody at the last second, and they just hit him up. I asked John Costco if he still had access to those demos he made with Another Animal. If I'm not mistaken, it was Before the Fall, Find a Way, and Blind. And he said he did. Maybe we could get those too. That could be pretty cool. I'd like a vinyl release of this record. I think this album would look fantastic on vinyl. And that would be a good way of generating buzz, is just, putting this out, giving it a re-release, some new life in 2026, almost 20 years after it came out. And maybe a proper release of Fall of Rome. Fall of Rome, as you guys know, is the Rock Guy channel theme. I've used it for several years at this point, and I managed to get away with it because, well, since it never got properly released, I never got, struck down with copyright. But that might change. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know if they made more music around the time they made Fall of Rome, or if they just made that one single. It's going to be a big year for these guys. In addition to Another Animal, Shannon Larkin has like 3 other albums coming out. He's got the uglykidjoe one. He's got a Spirit Wheel album. I'm guessing that's a new band he's doing. And then that blues project he did with Tony Rombola and Brian Carpenter. They're also putting out an album this year. Lee Richards is putting out a solo album, which I am very excited for. I think he's a very, very good singer. He's a great guitar player. And it's going to be neat to see him, put out new music again. It's going to be a good year for him. As far as the channel goes, I've got a couple of really big videos I've been working on for, I guess, years at this point. I haven't uploaded in forever. Everything is good. We're just really busy. I'm going to try and get those out as soon as possible. I have another really cool video coming out, completely unrelated to music, just something else entirely that I took a brief interest in. As soon as I get that finished, I'm going to throw that out. See how it does, see if that resonates the way some of my other album or musical reviews have gone. Pretty much that's all this video is, just to raise awareness for that new Another Animal album. So keep your eyes and ears peeled. It's going to be really cool. Good to talk to you guys. I hope you're all doing well. Another Animal forever.